What is up? Coming to you live from the Cat House in Montebello, California. It's time for Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast, the Monday edition, the October 12th edition, episode 195. As most of you know, we emanate from the great city of with the Los Angeles metropolitan area. We used to literally come from downtown Burbank, but we were here in Montebello, but we're in LA, and being an LA show, there were some significant events in Los Angeles yesterday. The Los Angeles Lakers became the National Basketball Association champions. Executive producer Sam Zia was eagerly wanting to join us because he is probably the biggest Laker fan I know. I used to be a really big Laker fan. I feel, we had a whole episode about this last year or the year before, where I'm not as big of a sports guy as I used to be. I used to be a really big sports guy, especially back in high school. I would, before the advent of the internet, I would buy magazines. I subscribed to Slam magazine. I would get the Street and Smiths at the beginning of every basketball season. I ran a fantasy basketball league before. It was really easy to do that on the internet. But in my later years now, especially in the last 5 years, I'm not as big of a fan as I used to be. But I still casually keep an eye on things. You know, we have the wonders of smartphones and the internet. It makes it a little easier to keep track of these kind of things. Like, for instance, I made a funny post last night because I realized I don't think I've watched a single minute of this basketball season for the Lakers. I don't think, between my wife being very pregnant at the beginning of the season and our son being born, and then the pandemic, and then just generally busyness as a parent, and accessibility to the games. You know, obviously, I don't have cable. I don't have the evil four-letter network. I don't have TNT. You know, most of the games are played there. I hadn't watched any of it. I realized, I haven't watched a single minute. And I made a very funny post on my Facebook last night. I was like, well, I'm not going to turn on the game. I had opportunity. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just leave things alone. I'm not going to jinx things. If the Lakers got this far without me watching, I'm not gonna jeopardize it for the rest of the Laker fans out there and jinx it. Jai, apparently every game you watch they lost. If that's not jinx, I don't know what. Sometimes there's just that aura that you have. There were several years when I would go to a Dodger game live, they would not win. I remember going on my birthday and they did not win. They were like going several times. I think they did eventually win a game that I went to. I believe it was. I think the game that broke my perceived Dodgers jinx was when Manny Ramirez and his pregnancy hormones were masking his steroids. I don't need to allegedly that. That's what happened. He had, it was his bobblehead night, and he did a pinch hit grand slam to win the game for the Dodgers. I think that was the first time I think the Dodgers had won with me watching in the physical presence of them. But yes, the Lakers won. And I'm very happy for a lot of people. I'm happy for all of my fellow Laker fans. I feel that I'm more of a casual Laker fan now. I thought it was really funny because I wasn't watching the game, but I knew the game was over when suddenly my wife turns to me and is like, "Why is there fireworks going on?" And I'm like, "Oh wow, the city of Montebello, or I guess by proxy, all of Los Angeles was set on the sky was set on fire last night." There was hundreds of fireworks shot into the sky. In my neighborhood, they're not shy about it. Over here in my piece of Montebello, for whatever reason, they will fire fireworks. I don't know if there was like an endless supply of fireworks that some people have around here. June, July, and August, there was fireworks every night. It was infuriating, being a cat dad and a baby dad. It was like, what the hell? Stop firing the fireworks at 3 in the damn morning. You're waking up the cats and the baby. Tiger is more apt to sleep through the fireworks. On 4th of July, he knocked the heck out. And he saw a bunch of fireworks, but all the ones that kept going into the night, thankfully he slept through most of them. But I mentioned cats first because, if you're a pet owner, then the 4th of July is hell on earth for your poor dogs and cats. But then, last night, boom, it was just like, holy crap, it sounded like the 4th of July outside for a good hour and a half. And then that's how I know, the game must be over. And that's when I turned on the television. I watched the Laker team receive the old Larry O'Brien trophy, that big sphere on a weird triangle, which I never quite understood the design of that trophy. I guess I was a big basketball fan, but I never understood. Yeah. Hashtag dad problems. That's right, Damon. Hashtag dad problems. You're a fellow dad who lives in the Montebello-ish area. If I recall correctly, you still live somewhere in this neighborhood. I still got to get you that Game Boy cable. I keep forgetting about that. The weird design, and then the MVP trophy, which I think I must have missed the memo that they've named the MVP trophy after Bill Russell, 11-time NBA champion. So I got to see that stuff. I got to see LeBron be very happy, see Anthony Davis very happy. All right, it was good, and then that's when I had to explain to I was telling my wife about the post I made. Oh, right by Sure, then you're not far from me. Then I'm right by Montebello High. I was explaining to my wife, I made that post about I didn't watch a single minute, and I was like, oh yeah, I've always felt like I've been a sports jinx, and this goes back all the way to 1993. And I felt like, oh, this is gonna be a topic for tonight's show. I know it doesn't seem very geeky, but being superstitious about sports, that's a pretty nerdy thing. So all the way back to 1993. Let me paint a picture for you guys. It was if I recall correctly, it was the first year the Lakers didn't have Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson had just done his retirement. Or really, the Lakers were the 8th seed. They were going up against Charles Barkley's Phoenix Suns, who were the number 1 seed. And I didn't watch games 1 and 2 for whatever reason. My parents were always very tyrannical about me going to bed, and I wasn't able to stay up and watch the Laker games. So I missed game 1, I missed game 2, and they had won both of those. So like the Lakers, the plucky 8 seed at that point, no 8 seed had ever defeated a number 1 seed. The plucky Lakers were up 2-0, and then I remember I watched game 3, and then they fumbled it away. I'm like, oh wow. That sucks. They had a chance to take out the number 1 seed. I remember I was watching with some of my middle school friends because I was still very much in middle school at that point. And I watched game 4 with my friends, and I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I'm the reason they're losing. This is a weird superstition you build as a child. And so I remember game 5. I was at my friend's house, and I was not allowed to go in the room to watch. I had to stay outside. It's like, you're a jinx, because like anytime I got near the door, they start falling behind. But anytime I'd go stay in the living room or stay away from the television at my friend's house, they start to go back up. But regardless of me watching or not, they still lost that game. And then from then on, henceforth, it was like, oh wow, maybe I'm a jinx. Let's fast forward a few years later, because I have witnessed many a collapse in my life, whether it be in person or via television. The 1996 NBA Finals. For those of you who are sports fans, I don't know if you'll probably remember this. It was the Orlando Magic versus the Houston Rockets, and at that point, I was a very big Shaquille O'Neal fan, so I was by proxy an Orlando Magic fan. Orlando Magic, they were in the finals. Hey, Penny Hardaway, Nick Anderson, Dennis Scott, Horace Grant. All right, awesome team. They beat out of retirement, freshly returned from retirement, Michael Jordan, who was out of shape, and they got to the finals. And poor Nick Anderson. I remember watching that game. I was doing algebra homework. I think no, I was doing science homework. I remember I had a big textbook. Because that was in June, so I was doing summer. It must have been some summer school homework or something. And my dad was watching. Me and my dad were watching the game, but I was kind of like at my desk, turning my head to watch the game. Well, I gotta do this dumb homework for summer school or whatever. And man, it's like, all right, game's on the line. That was 95 finals. Okay, 95. Could have sworn that was 94 finals, 95 finals. Whichever finals, 96, 97, 96, 97, 98. Oh, no, yeah, you're right. Because 99 was the Spurs. So, yeah, 96, 97, 98 was the Bulls. So, 95 finals. Thank you. That was only just a few years later. Man, Nick Anderson bricking those 4 free throws. I remember I was closing my eyes when he went back to the line for the 3rd and the 4th free throws, and it just like that sinking feeling. It was like and again, for whatever weird superstitious reasons, I felt I was responsible for it. If I hadn't been watching, maybe he would have hit those. But it's ridiculous. I know it sounds irrational, but this is something that's been in my head forever, and it is double sided. Sometimes I watch collapse. Oh, I forgot to write this one down. I remember I'm not emotionally involved. Terrible things will happen. I remember watching live when Reggie Miller destroyed the Knicks in 33 seconds. I was at Game Stuff in Monterey Park. If any of you old heads from this area remember that old video game store, they used to just watch basketball all day as well. I remember sitting there going, oh yeah, well the Knicks are done. I guess unless a miracle happens, then Reggie Miller did his thing, hit 2 3-pointers, or hit a 3-pointer, knocked over John Starks, stole the ball, hit another 3-pointer, stole the ball again, got fouled. Sung 2 free throws, scored 8 points in 33 seconds, and gave Spike Lee the choke signal. Like I have witnessed terrible things. I have a list of all these terrible things I've witnessed. Or terrible for some people, good for others. The 97 World Series, it was the Marlins versus the Cleveland Indians, and they went down to Game 7. And I watched Jose Mesa blow an entire World Series. I was just like, wow, this is happening. Like, I think I was rooting for the Marlins. So this is one time where, like, watching a collapse happen, and it happened in the positive, where Jose Mesa, who was like the best reliever the entire year, he was a shutdown reliever and just coughed up the entire World Series in Game 7, and then the Indians lost to the Marlins. It's just it's like the KC Chiefs from last year. He was at the Houston playoff game when losing, and he left, and Chiefs won. Yeah, sometimes you feel like you affect things. Going back to Lakers, I remember the Kobe playoff game where he missed 4 straight air balls, just insane. And then there was another series when there was another Kobe series where it was the year before they got Pau Gasol. That probably would be 2008, 2009, or even before that. No, that would have been 2007, because 2008 was when they got Gasol and then went to the finals. See, getting old, your memory gets hazy. I remember like willing the Lakers to lose against the Suns. I'm like, oh. And the Lakers blew like a 3-1 lead or a 3-2 lead to the Suns and got eliminated from the playoffs. I'm like, get what you deserve. Being a jerk. But I think the ultimate form is, Warren, thank you for mentioning football. I did have it on my list. When I was a San Diego Chargers fan, oh man, the amount of heartache. I think that is the reason why I had to get away from being a sports fan. It was like when I was a Chargers fan, the agony of there was no relief. Winning was barely a relief, and losing is a tragedy. I can't remember what year it was when the Chargers went 14-2. I only watched 2 games of that regular season, and they were both of the games that they lost. I think one of which they lost by field goal to the Chiefs, and then I forget what the other loss was, but they went 14-2. I couldn't, obviously back then, I think that was one of the first years where they started counting LA as a part of the Charger blackout rules, so that the Charger games were frequently blacked out in Los Angeles. I couldn't watch them. I think the only way I could see them was, or I couldn't even say, I could only monitor them via the internet, checking ESPN.com and watching the game cast and just seeing a little football go back and forth. But yeah, that season, I remember late in the season, it got to the point where like the woman I was dating at the time, I'd have her, she was upstairs. I would be at her house. She was upstairs. You watch the game. I'm gonna stay downstairs. I can't watch because if I watch, they're gonna blow it. And me sitting out, they don't know how to win. Are they doing it right now? Monday Night Football? Yeah. I'm glad to. Yeah, I remember the old joke a friend of mine used to say is, Philip Rivers is the Garfield of football. He hates Mondays, but it's not Philip Rivers anymore. So I guess the The San Diego Chargers are the Garfield of football. God, yeah, when LT was when LT was amazing. LT was so awesome. I had that LT jersey. But the Chargers, for whatever reason, I would watch them fail. And in that 14-2 season, I made the mistake. I'm going to watch the playoff game. I probably shouldn't. I want to watch, and I missed most of the playoff game. Of course, right when I turned it on, good old Nate Keating, who had been automatic all season, misses a relatively normal field goal, and they lose the game. And I was like, "Yep, still got it. Still got that. Still got that jinx. Still had it in me." And then I forget, it was like the following year when the Chargers actually got past the first round. And they faced our hated enemy, Tom Brady. And I was watching that playoff game. It was just like I was on the edge of my seat. I was losing my godforsaken mind that entire game. And the Chargers were ahead, but then Tom Brady was doing his typical, I'm gonna do a friggin' comeback drive. And I forget which idiot Charger it was. Intercepted, picked off Tom Brady. And instead of going down to the ground, he decided he was going to be a hero and try to run it back. And I forget which of the rather intelligent New England Patriot wide receivers popped the ball out of his hands. Because if you're a cornerback or a defensive back, that means you're not good enough to be a receiver. And he wasn't holding the ball. He didn't secure the ball. He fumbled the ball. Tom Brady got the ball back. They scored, and that's when that was the infamous time when the Patriots were stomping on the Charger logo, because that game was in San Diego. That was the one year that was another year where they managed to have a better record than the Patriots, but still blew it. I remember sitting there, mouth agape. It's like they had picked off Tom Brady, could have ended the game, fall down the ball, victory formation, kneel it out, hand it off to NLT, win the game. But nope. And internally, I blamed myself. I felt responsible. It's irrational. It's borderline insane. But I think there's many other sports fans out there who probably feel the exact same way. I think there was another one that probably was the biggest one for me with the Chargers. But there's another. I think there was another Charger game. There was Chargers versus the Broncos, and there was a weird fumble by Jay Cutler, and whatever the stupid referee Ed Hockley. Oh no, that wasn't a fumble. It was a forward pass. It was like, and then all the replays showed that it was not a fumble. It was a forward pass. It was a fumble. It was not a forward pass. It was a fumble. Should have been Charger ball, and then the Broncos win the game. Because Ed Hockley is a moron. I think, thankfully, he's retired now. And you think, in these last few years, I feel like I hadn't witnessed anything. And then a friend of mine who I worked with at Disney, a nice guy, Brian Rios, he occasionally stops in on the podcast here. We had been doing a tradition when I was still living in Pasadena. We'd go to the first UCLA football game every year at the Rose Bowl, because my old apartment was right next to the Rose Bowl. There was I think that was the last time we went. It was a UCLA versus Texas A&M, and for sports fans, some of you sports fans might already know the story I'm about to tell. We go to the game, and UCLA was getting the dog piss beaten out of them. They were down 40. I think they were down by 38 points or 40 points. It was ridiculous. People were leaving by the half. Everyone's clamoring for the coach to be fired. But for whatever odd reason, UCLA mounted like the greatest comeback in the history of college football. And remember me and Ryan looking at each other, are they in this? Are they gonna come back? And we're just sitting there like we didn't leave because we're like, hey, we could have just walked back to my apartment, got some more beers, and just drank it off. But no, we stuck it out because we're good fans. We're gonna sit and watch the game. And UCLA made that. Josh Rosen got himself a freaking NFL contract with that game, and UCLA made the big comeback. And it was so funny because there were some Texas A&M fans, because I think we were sitting on the visitor side, and these A&M fans behind us, well, this is what they do. They blow it. I was like, damn, the acceptance of such resignation, the pain and suffering some of these A&M fans. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, this is an older gentleman, but I guess it's something he was used to, which was like, oh man, that's when fandom is painful. That's pain. Fandom is pain sometimes, and you know, honestly, and that's the crux of why I don't commit too much energy to it anymore. I can't sit there and invest my emotions into this when it's just the majority of the time it's just gonna be suck. It's just gonna be pain and suffering, and that's unnecessary. Especially I have more important things. I got my wife and my kid to worry about and take care of, and I want to give them my energy. I don't want to be because I remember I was telling my wife, it's like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm not as crazy into sports anymore, because it's allowing the comings and goings of something that's out of your control. Even though I have this weird superstition, like, oh, by watching it, I do control it. I am the influence. I am the positive or negative karma. But just getting away from that, it's been a healthy choice I've made in my life. Letting the comings and goings of a sports team determine. See, and then or actually, and then right here, I'm glad you're watching. Or assholes like Jai Polidor here, who like to rub it, who relish in the pain of sports fans and like to pour gasoline onto the fire. That it's also people like you, Jai, why I don't invest emotions into sports anymore, because I don't want to give you pleasure from my pain. People like you, because that's the toxic fandom. We've talked about toxic fandom in comic books and movies and the video games, but it's just as prevalent in sports. I have this weird fascination, because I still follow the NBA on Facebook, for example, and whenever there was a big happening in the NBA, of course they're always making posts, and I like to click on the comments for like about 10 seconds and to see how horrible it is. And I think currently the biggest narrative is just the pure hatred that some people have for LeBron James, and it's so insane. Yeah, I love you too, brother of the dark. And it's just to see these people who, whether they're fans of basketball or fans of hating LeBron or hating Lakers or just hating, it's just seeing this people who are just, they absolutely have this need to pull down their pants and shit on whatever they hate on the internet. And it's just, again, like when I talked about this the last time we did this big sports talk, I was like, it might be my old age. I'm getting tired of this, but I still like, I feel like I check that to remind myself that, oh yeah, a lot of the vocal people are still garbage humans, and I don't want to engage with this. It's still kind of like it's like I just said, like a flu shot. It's like, oh, hold on, I need to inoculate myself against this. Let me get some negativity. Oh yeah, sports fans are garbage. Yeah, I don't want to involve myself in that. It's don't get too. I used to listen to a lot of sports radio and be like, I'm glad I wasn't so hardcore into it in the social media age. Oh, Twitter, man, that's if what I see on Facebook is bad, what I occasionally like pass by on Twitter is just people. Yeah. See, Warren, thank you for bringing like those two characters up. Like, yeah, people like Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith. That's I can't tolerate quote unquote sports takes. One of my Nintendo buddies, Terrell, he posted up he found this video montage of all these sports pundits taking liberal shits. It's not even just social media commenters. It's the people who are on television are saying ridiculous shit just to get reactions, to get views, to get everything. My son is laughing, and I'm so curious as to why. Baby laughs are the greatest thing in the world. See, that's what I want in my life. That's what I want to put in my veins. When my son is laughing his little butt off. I spent this whole weekend making that little dude giggle. He laughs at me. My priorities in life have changed so much. But yeah, it's those kind of sports guys like Warren just mentioned on Facebook Live here. It's they just drive the negativity. We're like, I have not heard Skip Bayless's voice in years, but I honestly I still have great deep disdain for him in my heart. He's just a monster of a human who he is like the ultimate preys on the negativity of fans and just feeds on it. He says horrible things, and like a succubus, he takes in the negativity. He's like, yes, you're giving me life, you're giving me ratings, which means whichever terrible channel that because all these guys, they flip flop back and forth from I work for Fox, or I work for ESPN until I get fired, and I go back to working for Fox until I get fired, and I go back to working for ESPN. Like, who's that idiot Colin Coward? That guy's another piece of human trash who just likes to say negative shit. And all the white dudes are super passively racist about all this stuff. That was another big thing they really. It's all it's clickbait, and then all these websites take the terrible things that these idiots say and put it on news posts to get people to click and react and say horrible things, and people go and attack them on Twitter. Being a sports fan requires a dedication that I just can't. I can't give that much dedication and energy to that. I can't feed that monster. I can't feed that wolf. Which wolf? My wife always likes to say, "Which wolf are you feeding?" And I can't feed that wolf anymore. I believe I am happy for the Lakers. I'm glad they did it for Kobe. Despite, hey, when you're dead, everything washes away, right? And so they did it for Kobe. I'm glad. The always sweet Jeannie Buss. She's the first female owner to win an NBA championship. Stephen A. Smith, trash ass comment. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith has nothing but trash ass comments. He is a detestable human being who that's ESPN and Fox Sports. It's not journalism. It's basically TMZ with sports. That's what those channels are. That's why I can't give them any time. Yeah, Dwight Howard. That's funny. I thought that was a funny piece of news. Two of my high school buddies who I still talk about basketball with. We have an ongoing text chain because we're old men. We talk about what's going on. They were like only my real portal into what's going on aside from whatever I saw on social media. They would text me like, we were laughing about Dwight Howard, he totally blew it the first time he was a Laker. But this second time around, he kind of kept his nose clean, except for that whole not wearing a mask in the beginning of the bubble. But NBA got the Disney Annie literally at Walt Disney World in the Walt Disney bubble, and Dwight Howard gets himself a championship ring. Something I remember when Spectrum Sportsnet, or back when it was called Time Warner Sportsnet. Because I think that was the first season of all that nonsense when the Dwightmare, where it was Dwight and what's his face, and Steve Nash had come to join Kobe. And I remember him he saw all the trophies, I'm gonna add one. I was like, well, he didn't add one then, but he got lucky and got to tag along for one this time around. Good for him. Anthony Davis gets to shed that hole. He couldn't win the playoffs, but hey, there you go. One championship, just like death cleans everything. You get yourself your championship ring, and that washes everything away. And I wish I had a graphic. What really grinds my gears, how I don't know how these modern NBA fans. When I was growing up, we called it a ring. You got to get the ring. You got to get that title. You got to get the ring. For whatever reason, I don't know how the verbiage changed. You got to get that chip. That sounds like the dumbest thing in the world. Again, this might just be me being an old man. I'm 41. I'm getting up there. I'm not young anymore. But whenever I see people making that, you got that chip. You got to get that chip. You only got 2 chips. You only got 4 chips. It's like, Are we talking about a potato chip, a chocolate chip, and talking about a microchip? It sounds stupid. It sounds again. I'm old, so it sounds juvenile. It sounds like is it really hard to say ring? Because again, it's all about the ring. We talk about how many rings when the conversation about Charles Barkley when he was a player, and even now it persists even after his retirement, and now as a cartoon character on TNT next to Kenny Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. It's like, I was talking about, he never got his ring. Patrick Ewing never got his ring. Karl Malone and John Stockton never got a ring. It was always used to be, get that ring, get that ring. And maybe there was old people then who hated the fact it was called a ring and not a title. And maybe the cycle just persists. In 20 years, they're going to call it some other stupid word. And everyone who's a young person now is going to be mad. Man, we used to call it a chip. Now they call it a flim flam. Or some other made up word they're going to come up with in 20 years. And I want to be a 6-year-old man going, I hate everything. I'm all like, Tiger, help me set up this camera. I got to get back on the internet and tell these people how stupid they are 20 years from now. It'll be in year 24 of Dre's Geek Philosophy Complain Cast. Maybe the Patreon will still be going then too. Yeah, I think about how much sports was such a part of my personality and who I was for my teenage years and my early 20s. And now it's like I've separated myself from it for the most part. But now I have my kid, and I have to think about, all right, I don't want to push him towards it or push him away from it. Like, I don't know if I necessarily just want to present it to him. Here, this is what basketball is. Oh, here, this is what football is. This is what baseball is. And if you're interested, cool. We can get into it more. I'll buy you a basketball. We'll get a bat and a baseball. We'll go play. Or you want to kick around a soccer ball instead? Sure, it's in our genes. We're Mexicans. We love football. It's certainly in my genes. I don't get me. When World Cup comes around, I will friggin' throw on my jersey and go ole 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 ole. It's in me. I don't have the capacity to want to play football, but World Cup comes around or Champions League. I used to go take my lunches at Buffalo Wild Wings during those big soccer tournaments, specifically so I could sit in there, eat wings, and watch international soccer. Yeah, I enjoy that. MLS, I can't be bothered with MLS, but you put me in front of some upper level English Premier League, La Liga, or from some international play, for whatever, I feel biologically compelled to watch. Like when I was younger, my dad would watch all the time. Oh, this is boring. There's nothing happening. As I've gotten older, I'm like, especially in my mid-30s, I was like, oh, it's all about football, soccer, as we call it here in America. See, you hear the ethnicity come out in me, like, oh, I love the football. So, do you not jinx soccer? Man, I walked into a Costco in Brazil. Was it? I forgot what the title was on Pornhub. It was like, German team destroys young Brazilians. Was it the couple World Cups ago? Was it I forgot which World Cup that was. I remember walking into a Costco and everyone just huddled around the TV section, and just the Brazilian team were just getting mauled. I think that was 2014. Yeah, see, Jai, you make a point. Like, your kids are you, but I you know what? I don't necessarily want him to have to be me. He can be his own person. He's got daddy loves video games. You know, I don't know. Like, the thing that plagued me for the 9 months he was in the womb, and now he's been out of the womb for just as long now. It's like I don't want to force it. I don't want to push him towards, oh, daddy likes video games, you're gonna like video games. Like, no, I feel like that would have the negative effect, or the opposite effect. Like, you're gonna like what I like, kid. You're gonna be into old movies and old cartoons, none of this new crap. Like, no, it's like, hey, I'll present it to him however he wants, and if he's into it, cool. And if he's not, I accept that. I can't just be like, no, kid, you're gonna like it. It's like because as a kid, my dad really wanted me to play soccer, and I was like, nah, Dad, I like to use my hands. Maybe I should have been a goalkeeper. I think I would have been a great goalkeeper. But yeah, I think I do jinx soccer because I forgot which World Cup the U.S. was up 2 against Portugal, and I turned on the game and it was over, man. And then Cristiano Ronaldo said, "Fuck this shit, 3-2 Portugal. Sorry, USA, go home." We'll see. Sorry, I was sitting there reading. Jai left a very long comment here on Facebook Live. If you're not listening or watching, like, if your kids are you, the things you like and love, they will do. At first, it'll be because Daddy's doing it, and I want to be like him. But it can and do often turns into liking it because they genuinely do. Yeah, I think I watched a lot of sports. My dad always had sports on every weekend, so I think that's why I gravitated to sports. I liked watching the Lakers and watching the Dodgers because my dad was always watching the Lakers and the Dodgers. Hey, buddy. Speak of the devil. Hi, buddy. Oh, you're staring at the camera, or are you staring at Daddy? Are you staring at the camera, or staring at Dad? Boo. What's up, big guy? I got my big guy right here next to me. I was talking about you, buddy. I was talking about you. Yeah, like my dad had it was like I got into it because it was my dad never forced watching sports on me. It was just happened to be on all the time on Saturdays and Sundays when my dad wasn't at work. And I'd always ask questions. I remember asking questions about American football. It's like, all right, why is it 1st and 10? Oh, there's a little hand. Oh, there's a little hand. Oh, there's a little head. Oh, there's an eye. Yeah, almost got a tiger cameo right there. See you later, buddy. I'll see you in a couple minutes after I wrap this up, buddy. My pops always threw on sports, and I remember watching the NBA Finals, Lakers Celtics when I was a young man. I have a very vivid memory where I think that when the Lakers got beat by the Celtics, I remember I was very sad and wrote about it in my school journal the next day. Where I was like, oh, the Lakers lost the NBA Finals to the Boston Celtics, and I am sad. And I think I forget. I think it was like they beat them in 85. I forget if it was in 84 where I was sad. I think 86 was Houston and the Lakers, Houston and the Celtics. We're 88. That was the last one for a while because the Lakers. Well, I think the Lakers won 87, 88, but then 89, 90, that was the Pistons. I remember when the Pistons beat them and swept them. That was also very depressing as a young man. I think I was in middle school at that point when the Pistons, when the bad boys dominated basketball for a couple of years. So sports has always been a big part of my life, but now it's like, as we unpack it here on the podcast, we'll see. I'm again not going to force anything towards that young man over there. But if he wants to play Little League, I'm going to encourage him. I'm like, if there's something he genuinely wants to do, then all right, Daddy will find the money to get you a uniform and a bat and a glove, and we're going to put you in Little League if that's what you want to do. But it's not going to be like, I'm going to live vicariously through this young man. You're going to be a success because I said it. And yes, I'm doing the Vince McMahon voice on purpose. Nah, there's got to be none of that nonsense going on in the relationship between me and my little boy over there. Yeah, we're trying to foster a positive relationship. That way, he's not sitting there resenting his father like I resent mine. Awkward! And on that wonderful note, let's shut it down here for tonight. Boston beat the Lakers in 84. That was when Kevin McHale decapitated Kurt Rambis. Damon, I can have your kid's baseball gear. Cool. If in a few years, if Ty is interested in playing Little League, I will hit you up, sir, and I'll compensate you for that gear. If my son needs a slightly used baseball bat or glove, I will let you know, Mr. Damon. I'll trade you some video game stuff for your kids' baseball gear. Oh, God, Warren brings up that when Kevin McHale decapitated Kurt Rambis, that was just a regular ass foul back then. Whenever people try to compare eras, that's the other number one thing I saw on social media. It's like, that everyone like comparing LeBron to Jordan. It's apples and oranges. They both played basketball, but the game is very different. Jordan was Jordan in that era, but this is a different NBA world. Everyone is a top flight athlete. Everyone is friggin'. They have sports technology. Michael Jordan was the most stubborn motherfucker on earth. Go watch The Last Dance. You'll see he was the best because he was more stubborn than anyone else. And he imposed his crazy will and his incredible skill set. It was his incredible skills plus being the most stubborn, angry old man who finds a reason to want to kill everyone. That's why he was the best of his era. There's no. I feel like it's hard to compare. Oh, Jordan went 6 for 7 because LeBron is like freaking 4 and freaking 9 or whatever. He's lost more finals than he's won. And then Jordan, 6-0. He'll never be better than Jordan. Like, yeah, it's completely different. The fact that LeBron has put a team in the finals like 9 out of the last 10 years is ridiculous. That's not normal. He's his own entity of ridiculousness, and he'll like Adam Silver, that weird alien commissioner of the NBA, said LeBron will have his own trophy named after him at some point in the future. Because he is I was not a LeBron fan when I was younger. I'm not necessarily hip hip hooray for LeBron now. I respect. I've learned now I have to appreciate and respect when you see good basketball. Sadly, I think I've only watched what the Lakers did this year in highlights, never live. I've seen highlights of the ridiculousness on Facebook. Whenever my buddies Irvin Darren text me, yo, check out the block that happened last night. Oh, check out the dunk. Check out what Bald Mama did. That's actually been our number one topic in our text chain. It's like whenever Alex Caruso would just drop a fucking hammer on someone, like this little white / Mexican dude is just dunking on fools. That's been my favorite part of watching Laker highlights. This bald mama dude who everyone bullied into shaving his head just drops fucking ridiculous dunks on people. We're like, who is this guy? What's he doing? Why is he posterizing everyone? He's so little. I mean, he's probably bigger than me, or taller than me, but he's dropping thunder on people. It's hilarious. Go look. Go to YouTube. Look up Alex Caruso dunks, and you'll just have a good time for a good 10-15 minutes. You're like, wow, this guy's dropping hammers on people. Who is this guy? He shouldn't be doing this. Make sure to always follow us on social media at DreGP Podcast. That'll work on Facebook. That'll work on Instagram. That'll work on Twitter. I am active on Twitter. I am trying to be more active on Instagram. We are active on Facebook, but right now I am incredibly active on YouTube. Now that we got the Wi-Fi here at our cat house, and then and our Tiger House 2.0 coming soon, we got the Wi-Fi going on. I've been updating YouTube very frequently. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel. There's a lot of videos up there. We got Super Mario Sun Dre, the Dre Versus series has been going strong. When the baby's asleep and my wife's asleep, I fire up the Nintendo Switch in the kitchen very quietly, and I've been streaming, and then I take those videos and post them up on YouTube, and they're here on Facebook as well. Some of them are, but I've been posting them all, and we got recent episodes of the podcast, and I've been taking all the classic episodes, all the stuff that we've done in the past. I've been taking them from Facebook and putting them on YouTube. Actually, I gotta make sure this episode that we just did right now, I gotta make sure that goes up on YouTube tomorrow morning. I've been trying to make sure I post up at least 4 to 5 videos a week on the YouTube page. I'm trying to drive the algorithm there, because apparently that's something I guess I need to do it more regularly. And I've been using my amateur graphic design skills to put up graphics, so it's not, the videos aren't just a still frame of my face going like that, which I'm sure that's going to be the still frame for the Facebook Live, because Facebook Live always picks the most awkward and weird face that I make for the Facebook Live still picture. But now I can change that on YouTube. I don't know if I can change that on Facebook. I probably can. I just haven't delved deep enough when I'm on Facebook on my laptop proper. But yeah, make sure to check us out on YouTube. YouTube, a lot of fun videos going up there right now. I've been putting a lot of gaming stuff, and then also we have a second page. I've been doing all the gaming stuff on our Dre's Geek Philosophy gaming stream. That's a separate page I made a while back because Facebook was encouraging me to try to become a gaming creator. So now I'm putting time into that. I know I'm wrapping it up. I'm in the process of wrapping it up. Make sure to check out our other, if you just want to see video game content from us, check out Dre's Geek Philosophy gaming stream. You'll see me share videos from that stream on this Facebook page, and those are the videos that are going up on our YouTube page. And as usual, as I like to promote at the end of the show, patreon.com, Dre's Geek Philosophy, if you want to help support this crazy endeavor. You can donate some money via Patreon, and all that money goes directly into paying for any of the services we need. For example, like our podcast hosting. Currently, I think we make enough from the Patreon to take care of the podcast hosting. So anything else that we get right now will go directly into like buying games for us to stream. And eventually, if I get tired of those games, we'll give them away. We'll give them away to viewers. We just have to get there. Support the Patreon, and we'll grow. Isn't that right, Tiger? We're going to grow like you. You're growing so fast. I don't think my podcast can grow as fast as you're growing, kid, because you're growing big. He's like 9 months old. He just turned 9 months a couple days ago, but he looks like he's like a year and a half. He's a big kid. Look at these big arms. Look at the muscle. This kid got guns because he's been doing push-ups every night. He does push-ups every night in his crib. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll be back on for another live podcast next Monday, and be sure to keep an eye out. There's some gaming streams. Sometimes they're going to be very late at night. Sometimes I might do them early in the morning. Whenever the baby and mommy are napping, I will quietly stream some video games. Usually from my Nintendo Switch, because that's the easiest way I can quietly game. We'll see you guys next time. Have yourselves a good night.